Hello EDU602 class and online educators. I want to welcome you to a very special class. And in this class, the format is a little different than what you're used to in your normal Ashford classroom. In this model, it's very much a coaching and mentoring opportunity for you to be able to work with me as a professional instructional designer to design your online class. And the goal is for you to understand what it's like to be an instructional designer by experiencing that, and then also to be able to start to be a better instructional designer yourself through that mentoring and coaching process. This is a one-time class for you. We are integrating this model into the online educator across all 4 courses, but for you guys this will just be a one-off. And so if you don't like it, then that's great. You'll be back in your other format next class. If you do like it, well, maybe you can keep the faith and maybe design your own online course that has this very close mentoring opportunity, okay? So in this course, first of all, the amount of work involved is no more than the amount of work in any other Ashford class, and so don't worry, it's not more work, okay? I'll tell you that right now. The format is a little different in that in every week there is one weekly assignment, the final weekly assignment, that is in 3 parts. And so in this, for example, the first week there's the draft, the reflection, and then the final. Now, in the draft and reflection, that's all about brainstorming. You spend about as much time, if not less, on these assignments than you would in a discussion board. They're due midweek, just like a discussion board, and the idea is for you to brainstorm what to do around these assignments and just throw some ideas out there, okay? And you submit that. You spend maybe 15 to 30 minutes on these activities, and then you submit it, and I give you feedback in time for you to take that feedback and use it in the final assignment. Now, for the draft, I am going to be sending out questions that you can respond to that will help focus you, because one of the things about the way this class is laid out, and we are going to be changing it or redesigning that, is the draft is super intimidating, okay? Because this is actually what's expected of you in the final assignment, okay? So the draft is what's on the page of the draft is actually the expectation for the final assignment. And the idea was that you were going to read the final assignment and just brainstorm some ideas. That was kind of intimidating and hard to do. So I'm going to send out some weekly questions for you, and those questions will be what you respond to in the draft, okay? Now, in the first week, you won't respond to questions because our welcome call will satisfy your requirement for the draft and for the reflection. So week 1, get that instructor welcome call going, because out of that call, we will develop your draft, and also I consider the welcome call to be your reflection because you and I are reflecting together, okay? So if you get that welcome call in, your draft and your reflection will be finished, and then you just have to work on the final assignment. I'm going to go back here. So there is a draft, then there is a reflection, and I'll click on the reflection. Now basically the reflection is a video reflection, and you click on the UCU link and you can record your video right there. If that doesn't work, you can record your video using your smartphone if you want to, or even just audio, and then upload it right here, and that will satisfy that. Again, that's for weeks 2 through 6. Week 1, we got it taken care of in the welcome call, okay? So back to the concept of backward design. Oh, and then there's one other assignment, and it's a blog. And you will go ahead and just kind of write up your idea for a blog. Now, the blog was designed for students who had come in from the other mentoring model class. You guys are popping in kind of in the middle here. So you can have the option of just writing this and not posting it to a blog. If you want to post it to a blog, you're welcome to, but if you want to just write it and submit it as a Word document for all your blog assignments, that's fine with me. Okay, I'm not going to take points for not posting it to a blog, okay? Don't worry about that. All right, let's take a look at the backward design concept, okay? Now, backward design is a really important model. As you guys go out into the world of instructional technology and designing online classes, backward design is really taking hold in the education world. Backward design essentially is what you are doing. You created your learning outcomes. You start with the end in mind, the learning outcomes. By the time your students finish the class, they will have achieved these learning outcomes. That's the end, and starting with the end in mind. Now, in this class, you're going to take those learning outcomes and design that final assignment that your students are going to do to demonstrate they achieved those learning outcomes. So I'm going to think a second here. So we have one class I like to use as an example. We have a student who's making a soap making class. Now in her soap making class, the students are going to be able to make a bar of soap, and it's going to be kind of a, you know, one of those kind of craft soaps. So craft a bar of soap, and it will have a design element, it will have color elements, it will have special scents, and it will be created using this special soap making technique. Okay, so those are the learning outcomes, right? Now okay, so based on those learning outcomes, now we've provided you a worksheet, a backward design worksheet that's used in the field often. And here it is, okay? And so for this draft, you're going to fill out your learning outcomes, which your course learning outcomes you already have. Your module learning outcomes, I'm hoping you have at least for Module 1, and you may not have them yet for Module 2. I would like to see both Module 1 and Module 2 learning outcomes here. So if you don't, put your Module 1s down if you don't have them, and I will work with you on the call to get your Module 2, and we'll also refine all of your learning outcomes together, okay? All right. So then, here's the backward design part. You want to kind of think about what are those big ideas that the students are going to get out of your class, just concepts, ideas, big rocks. We like to call them big rocks. And so essentially with the soap making, some of the big ideas are that you have certain equipment. You need to have certain equipment in order to make soap. You have to know how to blend chemicals to make the soaps. You have to know how to add the colorant to get the colors, and perhaps layer colors, how to let the soap dry a little bit or harden before you add the next layer of color. And then other things are like the smells, the scents, the moods, the different moods of the scent. So they have to understand that scents cause different moods in people, and and what the ingredients of the different scents are. So those are all these ideas that you're going to be throwing out there in this stage 1. And just, there is no right or wrong. If it's redundant, if it seems redundant, don't worry about it. This is a brainstorming activity, and you guys are going to get really comfortable with just brainstorming in this class. I'm gonna work with you on brainstorming throughout this entire class. Once you've just thrown all that stuff out there, now you go to stage 2. All right. If the student, and then you look back up at those ideas, if the student understands about the smells and the moods associated with smells, then what will they be able to do? Well, they'll be able to pick, they'll be able to name or to select scents based on a desired mood. So evidence that the student can select smells and scents based on a mood that they're trying to achieve, right? And then for design, you need evidence that the student can create different design elements inside of a soap, okay? And then you'll need evidence that the student understands about how to mix chemicals, okay? All right, so that's the evidence. You want to be able to see that they can do all those things, all right? Now, based on the evidence of what they can do, that they can demonstrate to you, what's a task, what's an assignment that you could give them that would demonstrate that, okay? So for soap making, let's go on down here a little bit. I want to go down. So for soap making, they would be able to, hang on, there we go. So for soap making, perhaps they would be able, darn it, sorry. So for soap making, perhaps they would be able to demonstrate how to select scents by identifying 5 moods and then selecting the scents, the smells that go along with those moods. And then also, what are the components of each scent? So you give them a task, 5 moods, the 5 scents that go along with those moods, and then the components or the elements, the flower essences or whatever that go into each of those scents. That would be a task that would demonstrate they really understood about the scents and kind of the chemistry of the smells and the moods around the smells, right? Another example would be that they would be able to, you want them to be able to demonstrate that they can mix the ingredients. So, and use equipment to create the soap. So an example, then a task would be use equipment to mix ingredients and create a bar of soap. That would be an example of a task. They would have a product, they'd have that soap, and the assignment is make a bar of soap, right? And that would demonstrate that they could do it using all the equipment, using the chemicals, so forth, okay? I don't want to belabor this. I will work with you in your welcome call. And again, in that welcome call, we will get most of your first week's assignment finished. So spend that time with me in the welcome call, and then all you will do probably, if all goes well, is you'll just submit what you and I did together. Okay, and that'll at least be the draft and the reflection, and you might have just a couple more things to do to finish it up for the final. So let's get that welcome call going, okay? All right. Okay, back to the class and week 1. So you've got the welcome call will take care of your draft and your reflection and probably most of your final assignment, and then you have a blog, okay? So I will be sending out a link for the welcome call. And let's get that scheduled. I am completely solid booked. I have training from 7 in the morning to 10 at night on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm going to be out of pocket. So let's get everything taken care of before that, hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday at the latest. Okay, and I really look forward to meeting you guys. You're going to like this class. It's super fun. Okay, thanks. I'll see you guys online.